Guys, you probably know that Battlefield 6 has everything leaked around the internet, from weapons to trainings and vehicles, equipment, all of that, right? But a lot of you guys actually don't know exactly what's going on with the game when it comes to leaks, because these leaks are coming out in multiple bursts of information, with each and every single leak just giving us a small portion of the entire big picture. But that was the case up until a few days ago, where a YouTuber called Shockwavez actually made a video putting every single thing that was leaked about the next Battlefield game's vehicle section and their equipment and passive skills in one video. And he put everything into pictures with everything explained perfectly. That's very neat. So all the credits for all the pictures that you'll see in this video will go to Shockwaves. I'm going to put the link to his channel also down in the description. You can go ahead and take a look at the video that he made as well. But here I am explaining everything to you about the vehicles and everything that was leaked about them. So without further ado, guys, let's go ahead and start this video. So the first picture here starts with main battle tank. So as you guys probably know, Pax Armata gets a Leopard 2 and NATO forces actually get the M1 Abrams. For driver weapon 1 and 2, we have the MPAT shell, which is the normal shell that you guys probably know. Mediocre damage against armor, mediocre damage against infantry. And that's kind of standard issue for most of the tanks in Battlefield. We have the shrapnel shell, we have the high explosive shell. You guys probably know the high explosive as well. We have the guided projectile and the armor piercing projectile. The guided projectile is the laser guided missile that you actually shoot and you hold the target on the enemy until the missile actually hits it. In some Battlefield games, you can actually lock onto laser designated targets with these guided projectiles as well. But I don't know if that's going to be the case with the next Battlefield game or not, so we have to wait and see for that. However, for driver secondary, you have the coaxial light machine gun and the coaxial heavy machine gun, something you guys probably know. It's just about fire rate and damage. The heavy machine gun deals more damage with less fire rate, and the light machine gun does actually have a better fire rate with lower damage. For the equipment slot, you have the heat shield smoke. Basically, the vehicle throws smoke around, and you have some sort of shield against those laser guided missiles. You have the emergency repair. You guys probably know it repairs a portion of the vehicle's health. And finally, you have the ballistic interception system, which is probably the active protection system. It destroys any projectile that comes your way for a brief moment. For passive skills, this is very interesting, but you get some passive skills with the vehicles in Battlefield 6. You have the enhanced loading system. You reload just a bit faster. You have the durability upgrade. You have the improved controls. Improved controls basically just lets you move your turret a bit faster and those kind of stuff. Maybe take turns a bit faster with the vehicle. And finally, you have the field maintenance. For gunner, there are multiple weapons that you can use. You have the remote controlled light machine gun, the remote controlled heavy machine gun, and finally the remote controlled automatic howitzer. And for equipment slots, you have standard smoke barrier launcher and you have the explosive detection and detonation system. This system is pretty interesting. Probably what it does is that it's gonna detonate and detect some explosives for you that are in a specific range. So you're not gonna be just driving through mines and, you know, getting blown up. Now this probably has to be activated to start working. I'm not sure if it's gonna activate on its own. That's not gonna be the case probably, given the fact that it's some sort of equipment, right? And equipment like the smoke barrier and those kind of stuff should be activated manually. So that's about the main battle tanks. Pretty solid picture right here, and that's gonna be the case for other vehicle categories. So we're going for the infantry fighting vehicles, or the IFVs. For driver weapon 1, we have the high explosive bomb, armor piercing projectile, and anti-personnel bombs. So the driver has the choice to go against vehicles or against infantry. It's very interesting to see how people are going to react to that, especially on IFVs. They actually have a very decent firepower. For weapon 2, you have the anti-tank guided missile, the precision guided missile, and the light rocket. So light rockets are probably just those kind of rockets that will be shot in bursts of 4 and 5. They're not guided, and they have to be most likely used in close ranges. I have no idea what the precision guided missile is, but I do believe it has to be some sort of shoot and forget missile where you lock onto the enemy and then you shoot, and then the missile just goes to the enemy, goes to the marked target and hits it. You don't have to hold aim on it or anything else. And the guided missile is probably the exact opposite. You have to hold your aim on that target to guide the missile until impact. For equipment slot 1, you have the continuous smokescreen launcher, emergency repair, and heat shield smoke. And for equipment 2, you have the advanced threat detection system and close range threat detector. So close range threat detector is obvious, but the advanced threat detection system, I don't know what that is. I'm not really sure about that. For passive skills, you have the location jammer, You have the durability upgrade, field maintenance, and advanced system. Now, I don't really know about this advanced system, not gonna lie. It was leaked before I made a video on it actually, but that was a long time ago, probably 2 months ago, so I don't really remember what advanced system actually does. However, for gunner, we have the remote controlled light machine gun, the remote controlled heavy machine gun, and finally the remote controlled automatic howitzer. For gunner equipment, we have the active missile warning and kill system. This one will just warn you if a missile is coming your way, probably. And finally, the smoke barrier launcher. So that's all about the infantry fighting vehicles. However, we have the armored personnel carriers as well. You guys probably remember these vehicles from Battlefield 4 and Battlefield 3. They were actually good. They were handy. I remember on Battlefield 4, these vehicles were really handy. And so they're making a comeback in Battlefield 6. So let's go ahead and take a look at the driver. For driver equipment 1, we have the emergency repair, and we have the continuous smoke screen launcher. For equipment 2, we have the integrated medical cabin, probably some sort of medical support for those who get into the vehicle. If they're damaged or anything, they will be healed automatically until they're in the vehicle. As long as they leave, probably that healing effect will stop. Probably something like that. I'm not really sure about it. I'm not 100% completely sure, but that's my guess. You have the combat perception system, the mobile command station, and finally the grenade interception system. That probably works as some sort of weaker version of the active protection. For gunner, you have again remote controlled light machine gun, remote controlled heavy machine gun, and the remote controlled automatic howitzer. And for gunner equipment, we have the smoke barrier launcher, explosive detection detonation system, and that's going to be it. Only 2 equipment for the gunner, and that should do the job. This explosive detection detonation system is actually very interesting. I really want to see it in action. Now moving on to anti-aircraft, these are sometimes really annoying, especially in Battlefield 4. In my opinion, in Battlefield 2042, the anti-air isn't really that annoying. Can be if the player is playing good, if the positioning is on point, but in general, you don't really see a lot of these anti-aircraft vehicles hurting a lot of those air vehicles, and they kind of fly freely with no problem. So I really hope for a better balance in the next game, and I'm pretty sure if they want a good, healthy vehicle system, they need to be balancing these kind of stuff, because these anti-aircrafts should be really scary, just as they were in Battlefield 4. They would just go into the red zone and start camping and hunting those vehicles down, really. For driver, we have anti-aircraft high-speed projectile, and we have the anti-aircraft armor-piercing projectile. So these two are probably the opposite of each other. The high-speed projectile actually has higher speed, lower damage, and the anti-aircraft armor-piercing projectile has lower speed but more damage. And that should be it. And we have the multi-purpose air defense ammo. This is some sort of probably heavy caliber rounds, maybe 20 millimeters, things like that, for having some close range air defense. For equipment, we have the heat shield smoke and emergency repair. For passive skills, we have the location jammer, we have the improved controls, enhanced loading system, and advanced system. So that's about the anti-aircraft, and finally we have the fun part, the attack helicopters. So one thing has to be mentioned here, the loadouts for both attack helicopters and jets look to be exactly the same. So we're just going to read through attack helicopters and leave jets behind. That's not because I don't like to read about jets, that's because Shockwavez actually just made one single picture about attack helicopters and not anything for the jets, because they're basically just the same. So there's no point making another one just like this for those fighter jets, right? So let's go ahead to attack helicopters. For driver, weapon 1, we have line of sight guided missile, heavy rockets, and light rockets. So for heavy rockets and light rockets, they're again exactly the opposite probably. Heavy rockets have higher damage with less fire rates and probably less in numbers, and the light rockets have higher rate of fire and they're probably more in numbers, but they will have limited damage. And line of sight guided missile is probably some sort of, I don't know, maybe they mean some sort of TV guided missile, maybe they mean some sort of laser guided missile where you have to just hold your aim on the target until impact. Don't really know, but that doesn't really matter. Some people just know these. I'm pretty sure those vehicle nerds know a lot about these stuff. So if you know anything of these, do make sure to explain that in the comment section so people like me can learn a thing or two about these things as well. For weapon 2, we have the precision guided missile and anti-aircraft locking missile. Anti-aircraft locking missile is obviously just for anti-aircraft. That's some air-to-air missile, but the precision guided missile is probably some sort of missile that locks onto vehicles that are on the ground as well. For the equipment, you have fire extinguisher, and finally the ground target detection system. The ground target detection system is common sense. You detect vehicles on the ground and that's probably something that will help a lot of pilots and those who play mainly against ground vehicles. And the fire extinguisher is quite obvious. For passive skills, you have the radar system, improved armor, radar resistant materials, and heavy weapons. I don't really know about the heavy weapons, know nothing about it, but I guess I don't really have to. I'm not that big of a pilot, honestly, so if any of you guys know anything about this heavy weapons passive skill, you make sure to leave something in the comment section explaining it so I can learn something from you as well. So that was everything we have about Battlefield 6 vehicles and their equipment. Hope you guys enjoyed and hope this video was helpful. Hope this video was somewhat informative. Again, all the credits to the pictures go straight to Shockwavez on YouTube. The link to his channel is right there in the description. You can go ahead and check this channel as well. Pretty sure his content is also very informative. Thank you all guys for watching. Until next time guys, stay cool.